one talks to a physician, we will often identify ourselves as advocates. In fact, we will often insist that we advocate for our patients every day as we call insurance companies to get expensive drugs approved and call in favors to get MRIs expedited. We insist that our advocacy stretches beyond the confines of the hospital too. As first-hand witnesses of social injustices, some of us feel compelled to speak up for those facing housing insecurity in our emergency departments, and others refuse to ignore the children who die from gun violence in our trauma bays. Heck, we have BLM posters hanging in our residence lounges. But even under our grand performance of championing, one topic we physicians have remained intentionally silent on has been the killing of thousands of Palestinian civilians in Gaza. And for that silence, our Hippocratic oath weeps in hypocrisy. We may not have a degree in regional conflict, but our education teaches us well about the intricacies of death and suffering. We understand the internal injuries that tend to occur when hundreds of pounds of concrete collapse onto an exposed chest. We know the mechanism behind severe dehydration and how to prevent it, i.e. access to clean drinking water. We constantly remind each other to wash our hands and scrub in to prevent contamination and infection. And yet, even knowing these horrors, we look away as innocents endure these torturous conditions in Gaza without water, sanitation, or medical attention. Not only have we stayed silent as Palestinian men, women, and children have been killed, but we have stayed quiet as our physician colleagues have begged for reinforcement and support. Doctors Without Borders and the World Health Organization have been clear. There is a humanitarian catastrophe occurring in Gaza they are unable to staunch. They have explained in detail the public health crisis unfolding as access to anesthesia, antibiotics, and fuel for hospital generators have run short. We should be fundraising for their medical efforts throughout our residencies. Our voices should bring chorus from the passion of our protests, supported by our academic medical centers. Yet we do not feel this conflict directly applies to our definition of physician advocacy, so we avoid the discomfort and we carry on. Our powerlessness spirals as we become isolated observers. As a medical community, what are we saying with our institutionalized silence? Why is it so difficult to stand by our medical ethics that state it is imperative to protect the wounded and sick without discrimination? When will we say enough is enough and advocate as physicians for a ceasefire? Because time is running short and our white coats are stained with the blood of the patients we never felt the need to stand up for.
Hi everyone, I'm a resident doctor in internal medicine, and I want to share a poem with everyone. It's not directly tied to medicine, but I find it powerful nonetheless. I first heard this poem in 8th grade in French class, and it stayed with me ever since. It was written in 1946, after World War II, by a German pastor, Martin Niemöller. It was about the silence of German intellectuals and the clergy during the Holocaust. Here is the poem. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I again did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak up for me. It's a short poem, but I shared this today for two reasons. One, it reminds us to speak up when others need it most. Especially as healthcare workers, we are most definitely in our lane to speak up about wanting a ceasefire to prevent further loss of innocent life, further loss of quality life in Gaza. Especially without the medical capacity to care for the children, the women, the men, who are continuing to be injured by relentless bombs and gunfire. I just saw this morning that the UN has reported 420 Palestinian children have been killed or injured per day since October 7th. If we do not speak up as intellectuals, as humans, who will? And yes, maybe one day as we may need someone to speak up for us. So it is important that we speak up when others need it most. And the second reason that I shared this poem today is that it reminds us the power that we have in our voices. What's the point of speaking up if it doesn't matter, right? That's wrong. I get it. I feel apathetic at times too. It can feel like we're a drop of water in a great blue sea. But our voices matter. We have power in our voices. You have power in your voice. If our elected government officials do not hear you speak, they will not pressure Congress for a much-needed ceasefire. If the media do not see our outpouring of love for the people of Gaza, then the atrocities that they face will not make it into the headlines. So this poem reminds us that you have power in your voice. So as healthcare workers, please speak up in whatever way you can. Thank you.
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Hello everyone! I am also one of the residents here at the hospital. And before I go to read what is written and the call to action that we'll end with, I'd just like to point out that you all are here for a great reason. You all are appreciated. Even though our voices, like one of our colleagues just said, might not be heard, or you might feel that you're doing nothing, the only thing that you're achieving by coming here, by speaking up, is that you're not changing yourself or not allowing anyone to change you. Then that's enough. If by coming here, it allows you to look at yourself in the mirror and not feel bad about thousands and thousands of people, of children, of doctors, of nurses, of kids in incubators, of everyday people, you know? Any one of us, if we were born across a vast ocean, it could have been one of us. It could have been our siblings. It could have been our doctors. It could have been our patients. Can you imagine the pain that a doctor is going through? Can you imagine the pain that we go through when we sit down with a family and tell them there is nothing more we can offer? Can you imagine the pain that people feel when they can no longer offer their patients any treatment because buildings collapsed on them, because hospitals collapsed on them, because armies are going into hospitals and terrorizing people? Do you remember a couple of days ago when someone went into the hospital and there was an unidentified individual? How did you all feel about that? How do you all feel about people who go into hospitals and, you know, mass shootings happening everywhere? How would you feel if that is multiplied by 100 times? The hospitals are not working. People do not have food. People were kicked out of their homes because they were told it would be safer to go south, and now they're told that the south is not safe. So where are they supposed to go? There's no food, there's no water. It's just everyday simple actions. Everything that we're taking for granted is not available for anyone in Gaza. So again, I thank you all for coming. And don't let anyone change you. Don't let anyone tell you that you're on the wrong side. Just some simple education. For anyone who's passing by and, you know, doesn't care about what we're talking about, I just urge you to read. Any passerby should just read. Read about what's happening. Read reliable sources. Read primary source material about what happened in 48, about what happened before 48, about what happened after, and about what's happening right now. We are witnessing an act of genocide, which was called that by genocide scholars, by human rights organizations, and we can't do anything about it, or at least that's what we're told, but we are doing something right now.
Hi there, guys. My name's Liam. I'm a first-year PA student, and I just wanted to come and say, in a very, very personal capacity, that I think we're all incredibly justified in our sorrow and in our rage, and I think that the war on Gaza is a direct result of the corporate capture of the Democratic Party, and I think we should all think very seriously about what a vote for Joe Biden in November means. I think there's absolutely no reason, in my opinion, to vote for Joe Biden in November. That's a vote for imperialism. It's a vote for profits for oil companies. And we absolutely need to reject that narrative of lesser evilism. I think healthcare workers, unions, nurses unions, we are fighting for Medicare for all in the U.S. The Democratic Party has never accepted the, Medicare for all here, and we're seeing incredible loss of life across the globe due to Democratic Party imperialism. Just look at Afghanistan, Iraq. Obama's reign was horrible for people there. It was less concentrated than what's happening in Gaza right now, but this is a direct continuation of those politics, right? So I think for a strategy moving forward, if we, stand with the people of Palestine, if we stand with the people of Gaza, we should take a principled vote for the anti-imperialists in the presidential election. Jill Stein, Cornel West, they are putting their voices forward, and I think we should reject the party that has completely isolated its only Palestinian member, censored, and, she's the only member of the Democratic Party, Rashida Tlaib, that has taken any stand, any principled stand against what's happening, the blood that is on Joe Biden and the entire Democratic Party's hands. This is my personal opinion. I just wanted to put that out there, and I think we're all incredibly brave for coming out here today and standing with what we know in our hearts is to be true, with what millions of people around the world are saying right now. We are marching. This is a new wave of an anti-war movement that we are taking part of, and we should be proud of that. We are on Yale campus, one of the most, elite institutions in the world, but we are taking a stand, and I think that is incredibly, incredibly important. Solidarity, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Lastly, everyone, we are passing out small sheets of paper with a QR code on it. This links to a way to get into contact with us. We invite all healthcare workers and allies to join us in our organizing efforts. It also contains information about how to take action, calling your representatives, organizing your colleagues, opportunities to volunteer with clinicians in Gaza, to provide remote medical advice. There are so many important ways to get involved right now, and it will take all of us to build the world we want to see. Do not look away. Keep showing up. Keep speaking up. Keep watching what is happening in Gaza. Keep watching those videos, as painful as it is. No matter how many times you cry, stay sensitized. Keep watching what's happening in Congo. Keep watching what's happening in Sudan. These are not the only humanitarian crises, but they are a part of a large global struggle against the imperialist, colonial, white supremacy project. No one is free until all of us are free. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah!